Good morning and welcome to Unity Spiritual Center in Spokane, our unplugged version of Sunday worship. My name is Reverend Dr. Gary Simmons. I'm here with my co-minister, Reverend Dr. Jane, and she'll be doing the Sunday morning lesson this morning. We want to affirm that we are here to transform lives and inspire people to make a positive difference in our world, and we do that through staying connected to each other and holding the high watch and bringing us into this opportunity to really dive deeply into spiritual principles and practice. We begin our time each time we meet and gather with affirming our opening affirmation. I'll speak it once and invite you all to speak it with me from wherever you are. There is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, God the Good. Together, there is only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, God the Good. And so if you have an exception to this principle, in other words, if something other than God the Good is going on in your life, you're in your right and perfect place, because we're here to really break through those exceptions that we have and really find a center of empowerment and capacity to be the one unto our own life experience. Okay, so with that.
News you can use. So first of all, I want to say something about the spirit groups. They are getting closer and closer to being a reality. They're all online, and next week I have a meeting with some of the folks who have stepped up and said that they can host a meeting on their Zoom platform. And so we're going to have a conversation on Zoom, of course, about how we can make that happen, how many groups we can possibly have, and what those topics will be. And we're sticking to the kinds of topics that are easy to make happen, like discussion groups and book studies and prayer groups, things where we already have in place some of the outlines, and we can sort of get moving on those. So watch for more information on that. But there is another spirit group that I want to let you know about. Our youth and family ministry angels have been hard at work in the last few weeks, putting together a parenting Zoom spirit group. And there's a variety of topics, but it's got a spiritual focus. It's looking at the wisdom, the support that is out there for us as parents, and just examining who have we come here to be as in our role as parents. And so to sample some of the topics that we'll be talking about each week, the unconditional love of the oneness of spirit, self-compassion, conscious parenting. Joe Dispenza's work will be in there, love and logic, raising a secure child, parenting from the inside out. There's just a plethora of amazing resources that are being utilized in order to create this program. And so I want to really invite all of you who are parents who would like to be a part of this to be, first of all, watching for more information on how you can sign up for that. But this is an opportunity to join a group, to be really looking at how to do parenting from a spiritual lens, and support one another in bringing that into fruition. So that's an exciting piece. Also, watch for more information on that in the e-news update, but also all of the ongoing. We have some book studies happening and classes. Check with that to see how you can become involved if you would like to.
All right, we also want to, we've already mentioned this, we'll skip that slide. Also want to once again reaffirm our appreciation and gratitude for the generosity that is coming forth during these times, especially when we're not able to meet and receive your love. So we want to thank all of those of you who've signed up for consistent giving, automatic giving that has helped us a lot, and those of you who have offered your generosity in the forms of some special gifts, we so appreciate that, and we just wanted to affirm that. Keep it up. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to get ready for a meditation experience. Sean and Tawny has put together a beautiful meditation preparation song, and so let's get ready for that. Anything else you want to say?
I would say Sean and Tawny have, not has. They're not a sort of a single unit, that's all.
Okay, all right, well, I'm now grammatically aligned. Thanks, thank you so much for that. Okay, enjoy this next.
In the stillness of this moment, there is peace, there is peace. In the stillness of this moment, there is peace, there is peace. And I rest and trust and breathe and know. In the stillness of this moment, there is peace. In the stillness of this moment, there is love. There is love. In the stillness of this moment, there is love. There is love. And I rest and trust and breathe and know. In the stillness of this moment, there is love. In the stillness of this moment, there is love. There is love. In the stillness of this moment, there is love. There is love. And I rest and trust and breathe and know. In the stillness of this moment, there is love.
All right, so as we get ready for our meditation experience, just invite you, wherever you are, to settle into your chair or your cushion, your bench, or even the ground. Just simply allow yourself to be totally supported and held, enabling you simply to relax, to drop your shoulders, to straighten your spine, and to lift your head up as if being suspended from above. And as we prepare ourselves for a meditation experience, it is helpful to fill ourselves with energy and clarity. And so let's begin a 4-part breathing practice called box breathing. We will breathe in and hold and release and rest for a count of 4. And we'll do it 4 times together. And so, breathe in, and hold, Breathe in. Hold. Release. Rest. Breathe in. Hold. Release. And rest. One more time. Breathe in. And hold. And release. And rest. Let us rest into this moment with clarity and presence. Let us now bring into our awareness someone or something that we appreciate. A life partner, a family member, a dear friend, a cherished memory, a loving pet. Whatever carries with it the felt sense of appreciation, gratitude. Let us feel into this moment, allowing those feelings to arise within our bodies. And imagining this energetic field like a fountainhead springing forth from the crown of our heads. And if we were all here in this sanctuary together, we could visualize this plume of light, the fountainhead of energy that connects us, that imbues us, that carries us. And so let us become aware of the energy, the field that surrounds us. Sensing the boundless spaciousness of awareness. Feeling ourselves connected to every body. Let us imagine the 160 souls that are a part of our community and those that are yet to find us and those that have journeyed with us but have moved in another direction. Let us simply feel connected to all who are part of a path, part of a process of awakening, coming into ownership of one's whole self. Let us feel a part of a movement, an activity, a presence of spirit that is bringing renewal, that is bringing opportunities, possibilities. Let us feel that we're a part of something great and good, that we are channels, we are the avenue through which this field of infinite possibilities that contains whatever is necessary and good, we connect up into that field right now. Feeling ourselves entering into this experience of oneness and connection and presence. That moves us into an ever greater felt experience of wholeness. Feeling the limitedness, the limitlessness of our essence. releasing ourselves more completely into this presence, as if allowing ourselves to be pulled into this immense, enormous light and love, gifting each one of us with the capacity to be unto our life the one source. And as we feel ourselves more deeply into this connection, where we feel a part of everybody, everyone, everything, everywhere, every time. As we sense that awakening that is seeking to express itself through each one of our lives in its own unique and special and purposeful way, let us enter into a deeper sense of gratitude for what is unfolding, what has been laid before us as this opportunity to begin again, to start anew, to pour ourselves into the possibilities that will make a difference. And now for a time, let us move beyond these considerations, these ideas, and more completely feel ourselves into a place that is beyond self, beyond the conditions of this world, and purely abide in the awareness of our connection and wholeness and worth. Let us do that now as we allow our awareness to hold to that ideal of presence, connection, wholeness, oneness, and presence. Breathe in and release. Breathe in and release. Let us release ourselves now into the care and keeping of this presence, this field of opportunity and possibilities. Let us seek to allow ourselves to be aligned with this renewal and awakening, new beginning that is at our footsteps, at our doorstep. And as we move back into this time and this place, wherever we find our body-mind, let us re-enter into this experience of self, liberated from all that has been our burden. And now awaken in this moment filled with clarity, understanding, peace, love, joy, and possibilities. And for this, we are grateful. Thank you, God. And so it is.
Amen.
All right, I'll give you the remote.
You. Thank you.
You got it.
Well, good morning, everyone. Oh. Last Wednesday, it was Earth Day. an annual event that began in 1970, so it was actually the 50th anniversary of the very first Earth Day, and I'm old enough to remember that first one. I remember how excited I was to finally have something that was shining a light on the environmental issues in a big way. 20 million people in this country participated in the original. And it began as more of a protest or a demonstration, but really signaled the beginning of the modern environmental movement. Well, this year, Earth Day looked a lot different than it has in the past. And it was celebrated in a much more digital way. The theme this year was climate action. And it arrived, ironically, at a time when we were unable to gather in groups and take any action. But, as it turns out, staying home, sheltering in place, seems to be a very helpful action when it comes to healing the environment. One of the more unexpected outcomes of the COVID-19 virus is that it has disrupted many harmful practices that have been contributing to damaging the environment. And as a direct result, there has been a positive impact from the reduction of cars and airplanes and crowds of people being out and about. Doing nothing has been surprisingly beneficial for our planet. Now, last week during Dr. Gary's Q&A service, the question arose, is there a metaphysical meaning behind the coronavirus? You know, why is this happening in the greater scheme of things? Is there a deeper meaning to it? Is there a greater purpose? Is there a metaphysical meaning? And so this morning, I thought we could take a look at some of these questions and others, and through a new thought metaphysical lens, metaphysics meaning beyond the physical. But we have to remember something, and that is something we learn in the teaching profession. The quality of the answers we receive depends on the quality of the questions we ask. So I want to invite us all into being in the question this morning of what this time of self-isolation might mean for each one of us in a metaphysical way. What might the purpose be? And what is the gift that it contains? And so my talk title this morning is a question. You know, is this Earth Day or Rebirth Day? Or both, or neither, or somewhere in between? And it turns out the answer is that it depends. It depends on what stories we're telling ourselves about what this all is and why it's all happening. And so I want to begin with a disclaimer that you have heard from me in the past whenever I have the question posed to me, why is this happening to me or to us or to the planet? My answer is always the same, I don't know. I don't know, and I don't say that as a cop-out. I share it more as a beginning point of our exploration. Because the only thing that I do know is the story that I've made up around it. And so when we can get beyond that story, we can explore it with beginner's mind, when we really acknowledge that we honestly don't know the true answer. Now we can move into that beginner's mind, and here's why that's a good thing. The I don't know mind is ironically where our wisdom lives, you see? And it's what can help us to understand this in a deeper way than if we start out with, I know why this is happening, you see? Because when I do that, I move from the expansiveness of curiosity to the narrowness of evidence gathering in order to confirm the belief and the story that I have. And the magic truly lies in the questioning itself. As Rainer Maria Rilke reminds us, be patient with what is unsolved. Love the questions, live the questions. So let's take a look at some of the popular beliefs and stories that have shown up in our cultural noosphere as to why this is happening and what that means for us. Well, to begin with, there's this one. Mother Nature is having a revolt. You know, because of our actions in harming the earth, it's a result of our human behavior on this planet, and now we're paying the price, And so here we see, we can't possibly stop what we're doing to help the environment. And Mother Nature says, hold my beer. I like this one. And so that's one avenue of thought. Mother Nature is revolting from all of what we've done. Here's another one. God's putting us in time out. I've heard that one. Like, okay, people, you have had long enough to change your behavior now until you learn to play nice. You're going to go to your room. You're going to stay there until you can learn how to get along with people and take better care of the earth. How about this one? It's the end times. Our karma has caught up with us. We're reaping what we've sown. Carmageddon is here. Some see it as more of God's plan. It's God's plan with lessons for us. There's lessons to be learned. We're being taught a lesson here. So, conspiracy theories abound. Some think the whole thing's a media hoax. Some a bioterrorist attack. A divisive political weapon. A government plot to reduce our civil liberties. So, lots of those kind of stories swirling around. But some see this as an opportunity for a reset, you see, a pause in our normal day-to-day life in order to unhook from a long-cherished mindset. Unhook from that. Taking a breather long enough to shift our perspective to a new way of thinking, to be able to clearly see that we can be the change if we have a mind to. If our mindset can change, we truly can make a difference in this world. And so they're seeing it as a sort of a rebirthing of sorts, a renewal, restoration, rest and repair. And it certainly appears that the planet is using it this way. I mentioned earlier there's been a positive impact on the environment. Well, if we want to get specific about it, global pollution levels have plummeted throughout Europe, China, New York. The skies are clearing in California. The canals in Venice are clearing. The fish are visible. The swans have returned. Coral restoration is happening while there are no tourists in the water. Even the lack of noise is positively affecting the bird population. Pretty remarkable. So, could this be the dawn of a new era? The egoic world is being transcended by the greater mind, not vanquishing the ego, but integrating it with gratitude and love and compassion. Could it be that? Because that's also a belief that many have, that this time has great potential to serve as the catalyst for a major paradigm shift, a new age. And depending on your religious and spiritual beliefs, that new era could look different on the outside, but have the same underlying theme of love. Love is at the center of it. A shift within our collective consensus reality to a kinder, more compassionate world that has at its foundation a cultural worldview that will benefit humanity and the planet. Perhaps it's a coming together of our human family in a way we have never had it before, in a deep gratitude for each other and solidarity with each other and with the earth. You see, there's a different kind of thankfulness that arises when we connect with our human family and experience our interdependence, our interconnectedness. So you can see there are many different ways of looking at this, and which one is it? Well, it depends on the story we're telling ourselves. And so that's why it's so important to clear our minds of what we know, our preconceived notions, our basic assumptions, our cultural norms, the story we've created around it. That just clouds the issue for us. And there's no room in our psyche when that happens for anything new to arise. And so we have to become aware of whatever the story is that we have made up about it. And then, if that story is not healthy and is not life-affirming, then we want to start to change it. And we do that by asking different questions, you see. When we choose a story that is life-affirming, then our path can clear and our actions can take us in the direction of that story's fruition. So question the story. Question the story, because if you recall, the quality of the answer depends on the quality of the question. If we want any kind of an empowering answer, or one that can spur us to some form of positive, authentic action, then why is this happening won't get us there. For one thing, it's not, there's another more subtle question that is attached to that, and that is, who's to blame? And it really isn't helpful or conducive to healing to participate in a blame and shame fest, whether it's toward another person or an organization, a political party, or if it's aimed inward towards ourselves. Doesn't matter. Assigning blame in any way doesn't help us to move forward. It keeps us stuck, feeling powerless. If it's someone else's fault, then I have no autonomy here. You see, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm at the mercy of someone else's actions. I have no power to do anything. And if I'm stuck in self-judgment on how I have drawn this to me in some way, then I can't move forward until I get past this self-condemnation. And we certainly do want to become aware of any behaviors that may have been contributing to the Earth's demise, the spread of the virus, and then make behavior changes based on that. But we will only be able to adopt a new way of being long term if we do so with compassion and kindness. So it's important to let go of judgment, both inward and outward, if we want to take authentic, heart-centered action that can bring something new into being. And so you can see this whole cross-section of possibilities swirling around us. And depending on your point of view, we might be solidly believing one of these, and then from that belief looking for who's to blame. And depending on the narrative we've adopted, we will gather solid evidence in our minds that supports our belief. And then we'll take actions based on the story we are believing. So think about which of these is closest to what you believe to be the story behind the coronavirus. Is it one of these? Or is it a combination? Or is it something different? And is the story you're believing one that is life-affirming with a potential for transformation? And if not, then start to ask yourself more empowering questions. And those more empowering questions come when we have a metaphysical approach. What does this mean for me? What can I learn from this? How can I use this to grow into a greater expression of who I've come here to be? What action can I take that demonstrates compassion in action, that helps with the healing of this? And here is a big question. How do I want this story to end? See? When we go down that road, now the story has the potential for transformation because we get to change the story. So what metaphysical message does this virus have for you? Imagine if you looked at it that way. What is it teaching you? How do you want to be with it? What potential does it have for your evolutionary growth? What if it's about increasing our compassion, for instance, or becoming more altruistic, or awakening to a deeper source within, or developing more kindness or more patience? What if it could unleash our creativity or forge a deeper connection with the greater self, with ourselves, with our loved ones, our neighbors, despite the social distancing? You know, people have found very creative ways to have safe community and celebrations, whether it's sing-alongs on Italian balconies, or neighborhood window scavenger hunts for teddy bears, and children's art gallery walks, and fun yard displays, and, you know, singing to grandma for her 95th birthday from a distance, or drive-by birthday greetings, Zoom weddings, online classes, teacher parades, connecting with and honoring their students. A lot of stuff going on. And in order to be able to come up with these things, we have to change the narrative from one of I have to I get to, or at least I'm willing to. And then we can reframe the experience and we change the story. You see, it changes from sheltering in place to being artist in residence. I love that one. I'm the writer in residence in my she shed these days. Being in quarantine not out of fear, but out of a desire for another's well-being, from economic collapse to ecological renewal. And when we ask for guidance as to how to do this reframing, we are shown. It also helps to begin looking for the gift rather than seeing only the challenge in the situation. Fred Rogers has some words of wisdom for us as we look for the gift, or rather his mother does. When things are going on in the world that are frightening, look for the helpers. You will find them. And people have been coming forth in droves to help each other during these times. Our human tendency to pull together during a rupture of everyday life like we've had creates a solidarity with others. So look for the presence of compassion and mercy and love and kindness and benevolence. Look for evidence of evolutionary growth and change and transformation. Look for the presence of God in action, in the midst of all of it. In our greater Spokane community, many nonprofit agencies, many businesses have found new ways to serve, Unity Spiritual Center included. In our spiritual community, the amount of compassion, kindness, willingness, generosity that has poured out has been and continues to be deeply, deeply inspiring. I find myself moved to tears and overwhelmed with gratitude to be blessed to be a part of such a giving community. So what is it that you can do to help at this time? And it doesn't have to be a big thing. In fact, it's the small things that are often the most meaningful. I recently read that Captain Robert Scott led 2 expeditions to the South Pole in the early 1900s. And on the second trip, they had reached the South Pole. They were on their way back to a depot where they would get food and supplies, but they never arrived. And it was calculated that had they taken an extra 11 steps every day, they probably would have made it. 11 more steps. So I would ask you, what are your 11 steps? How can you be a healing presence, the embodiment of compassion, peace, wisdom? How can you share your gifts by taking 11 more steps? And so while I continue to look for the helpers and give thanks for the helpers, I also want to be one of them. And you see, that is how we get to say how this story ends every day. Just 11 more steps in the direction you want to go. And maybe that's the real gift here. That we discover that we have the power within us to transform. Maybe the gift is that it helps us to grow in our compassion, in our willingness to help and to lend a hand, in our desire to live in the meta reality of interdependence and oneness, truly. And maybe it's so that we can be a healing presence as we visualize health and wholeness, going against the grain of what is being thrown at us from all directions right now. For instance, here is what a cell looks like with lots of healthy white blood cells. And so I want to invite all of us to use this visual and keep it in our minds. Instead of that negativity we're constantly being bombarded with, join me in holding this vision for everyone who is infected or at risk, for all of us, that this is how, these are the healthy cells that we have. We can do this. We have the power of visualization, and when enough of us are holding that vision together, there is amazing power to transform the situation. No matter what has gone on so far, no matter what from the past has happened to create this situation, the power lies in the present. So for whatever reason that it's happening, we have the ability right now to do this transformative work. So here are some questions to consider this week. First one, how do you want this story to end? Write it out. Write out exactly how you want life to look when this virus is under control. How will you feel? See, how will you have grown? Really get clear on that. Take some time to really visualize this. And then what are your 11 extra steps? What is that for you? What small action can you take this week that blesses another in some way? What little bit of extra effort can you make that will make a difference? And here's the big bonus challenge. Come up with 11 different actions if we're talking about 11 steps. So I'm talking about 11 extra steps as one thing. What is one thing you can do that goes beyond what you're doing now that can help to get you in that in the direction of where you want to go? And then if you're up for the bonus, maybe you can find 11 of those actions. Every one of us can help to make this story a happy ending. We all can do that. So as we celebrate Earth Day, as we give thanks for the beauty, the sacredness of our planet, as we rejoice in how it is regenerating, let's also remember that this poignant time has the potential for rebirth and renewal as we pause, unhook ourselves from the limiting, outworn beliefs, and step into a paradigm shift that can move us into a new way of being. It's the never-ending story of the power of divine love in action. Happy Rebirth Day. And so it is. Okay, we're going to hear from our wonderful music folks, Sean and Tani, one more time. Yay.
Sacred love is all that you are. You are sacred love. Sacred love is all that you are. You are sacred love. Sacred love is all that you are. You are sacred love, God. Sacred love is all that you are. Show the way, God, show the way. I want to live in such a state of grace. Lead the way, God, lead the way. I want to live in such a holy place. Such a holy place. You are blessed peace. Blessed peace is all that you are. Blessed peace, child, blessed peace is all that you are. Show the way, God, show the way. I want to live in such a state of grace. Lead the way, God, lead the way. I want to live in such a holy place. Such a holy place. You are deepest joy. Deepest joy is all that you are. You are deepest joy. Deepest joy is all that you are. Show the way, God, show the way. I want to live inside in a state of grace. I want to live in such a holy place. Show the way God shows. I want to live in such a state, in a state of grace. I want to live in such a holy place, in such a holy place. You are sacred love, sacred love is all that you are. You are sacred love, God. Sacred love is all that you are. Sacred love is all that you are. Sacred love is all that you
All right.
I love that song.
Oh, I forgot to correct this slide. Look at it. It's not right.
Oh,
So you can take your own talk to heart if you want. So you know what I found so interesting in so far as just what you brought up. It's like there's been such a dramatic environmental benefit from what has happened by virtue of the pandemic, the virus. And yet, when we actually look at how our society works, climate change has been an issue for years, as you say, 50 years. And all the politics around what we can or can't do and why it's, hurting us to kind of try to owning the environment, and all of a sudden, we have this experience that demonstrates that all of that is BS. Yeah, it's just our belief system that keeps us from opening to what is possible when we really make a commitment.
your mic seems like it's cutting out.
Is my mic cutting out? Oh, it's cutting out a little bit? Okay, well, let's see what's happening here. Oh, it's off. That's what's happening.
I wonder if you're...
Okay. All right, I'm back. Maybe my batteries. All right. Anyway, the idea that what we've witnessed is that we can affect the environment. It's just that we don't have the will to. And when we don't have the will to do something that has to happen and nature takes over, we're given a lesson. Basically, we're sent to the principal's office and say, look at what can happen when we just open ourselves to what the possibilities are. And so I'm wondering, okay, so this is just one example where all of our politics, all of the ways in which our society is structured, living out of the story of separation, the environment is looming. We know it's something that we have to address, but there's not this kind of effort in the bureaucracy, the governments, they're just not involved or engaged. And here comes this virus that now all of a sudden we've experienced what can happen when we have to let go and we have to surrender to what needs to happen.
Yeah, it occurred to me as I was writing this that for 50 years we've been saying this. This message. It's not a new message. I can remember David Suzuki, who's one of my personal heroes, Canadian. He's kind of the Canadian Ralph Nader in a sense, I suppose, saying, if humanity was suddenly, taken off this planet, nothing much would happen to nature. In fact, it would flourish. But if the ants left, the whole ecosystem collapses. And I remember, hearing that way back when and kind of laughing about it and thinking, wow, that's an interesting perspective. But then seeing it before my eyes here, not that I want humanity to disappear, I don't get that idea, but just the thought that when we withdraw our typical daily activities, it doesn't take long before nature to flourish, without that happening. And how we've spent 50 years arguing about this, arguing, and in the span of 2 months, Mother Nature says, hold my beer.
Yeah, really. So the other thing I wanted to mention too is yesterday when we went on our walk up at our property, you asked me, well, how has this COVID-19 affected you? What have you used this experience to really begin to transform your life? And my first comment was that, well, I feel like my life has gotten easier in so many ways because of the isolation that's happening. And as I mentioned last time, for an introvert, that's not necessarily a bad thing. But what I've noticed is that I haven't gone out to eat. And so all of a sudden I've realized that I've had to prepare my own meal for the last 2 months, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I've totally revamped my capacity to really give my body what my body enjoys and needs in order to be healthy and thrive. And that would not have happened, and so for that, just one thing to kind of be a part of how my own environment has been caused to be cleaned up and more aligned with what is the integrity of this process. Anyway, it's just a fascinating concept that I wonder what other ways in which we have allowed our beliefs and our government and our social norms to keep us from opening to what is possible in the arena of health, in the arena of prosperity and abundance. The sky's not the limit; it's our belief system that's the limit.
Yeah, and I think we've seen that really demonstrated to us in a big way. That's what I'm getting from this, is that, as I said, for 50 years we've been, saying this, and all of a sudden we see it so clearly and so dramatically that our paradigm can shift when there's that much of a change in how we think.
Yeah.
And by the way, Gary and I are polar opposites when it comes to food. So I'm the vegan in the family. He's the meat and potatoes guy. That's why he cooks his own meals, not because I can't cook, but because we don't ever eat the same food. Okay, that's all. I just want.
You've cooked maybe 1 or 2 meals for me.
Yeah.
I think the first couple times we were together. And then after that, I couldn't even put chicken in her pans.
Hey,
It was like,
I let you put chicken in my pans.
I
That was
know,
a big
but
thing.
it was a huge thing, right?
Yes, it was.
Okay, well, we're over that part now.
Yeah, let's
All
move
right,
on.
let's move into our offertory. First of all, we want to let everybody know that there's a donate button on our website. You can't get to it while you're live streaming. But if you want to help us out to be able to continue supporting the church, we appreciate your contributions. Let's share our offertory blessing together. I'll say it once. Oh, let's say it together. Together.
I know that my giving blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I give and receive. I give thanks for the abundance that is mine to share.
All right, well, next is we're going to be moving now to our Zoom meet and greet. And so it'll take us 2 or 3 minutes to get that all set up. We're going to go ahead and shut down our live streaming now and move into our gathering. So join us on the Zoom.
See you there.
All right, God bless.
All right.